UN Women is the United Nations entity dedicated to gender equality and the empowerment of women. It is a global champion for women and girls. One of the UN Women's main initiatives in the fight for gender equality is the International Women's Day celebration. International Women's Day is celebrated on March 8th annually, highlighting the journey of women through different social climates with keen focus on their struggles and achievements. For this year's International Women's Day celebration, UN Women has decided to go with the theme Women in Leadership, Achieving an Equal Future in a COVID-19 World. The theme celebrates the tremendous efforts by women and girls around the world in shaping a more equal future and recovery from COVID-19 pandemic. At the T.A. Marisho Community College, we took the initiative to highlight our women in leadership. Hence, we have interviewed 9 strong women in several different positions to share their journey and their processes to success. I am Christina Swan Awaga, Corporate Communications Officer at the T.A. Marisho Community College. And now, let us meet our women in leadership. Please share your name and your portfolio at Tamsin, please.
Well, my name is Marva Boyd-McJune and I'm the registrar of the college.
My name is Nerissa Andrews Jones and I serve in the capacity as the interim boss of the college.
Good morning. My name is Lorraine Peters Alexander. I'm the Dean for the School of Continuing Education at the T.A. Marisho Community College.
My name is Shanika Charles and I am the chair of the Building Technology Department. In my department, we offer 4 programs: Building Construction Technology, General Construction, Electrical Technology, and HVAC Technology.
Good morning. My name is Melissa Polius John and I am the Dean of the School of Applied Arts and Technology.
I am Desiree Collins, Ms. Desiree Collins, and I'm currently the chair of the Teacher Education Department.
I am Antonia Kadu-Kellis, chair of Social Science.
My name is Latifa Jerome. I'm the chair of the Tourism and Hospitality Department in the School of Applied Arts and Technology.
I'm Fleur Gay Patrice, and I'm presently the director of the Carriacou branch of the T.A. Marisho Community College.
What do you think about the initiative International Women's Day?
I think it's a great initiative. It's positive in that it helps empower women. It helps recognize the women who have been successful and the leaders within the Caribbean, the international, regional as well.
Personally, the topic of women's celebration have never really been a paramount issue for me. However, on a societal level, we have seen the achievement of women occupying top positions in various organizations. So from that level, I would say it's good that the college recognize the importance of women and the contribution that women can make towards the development of the school.
It's a good initiative to celebrate women, but really and truly, I wish we didn't have to, because I don't see why we should have to distinguish between men and women and start separating and picking out this and picking out that and looking at the differences. We shouldn't be looking at the differences. We are all people, and it doesn't matter whether you're a man or a woman or whatever. We should just celebrate people for being people.
I think it's a really good initiative. Simply because, and I don't want to be biased, but I'm a woman, and we deserve a little recognition. As not a little, a lot of recognition. I think women, they've done well for themselves. We've faced challenges. In my own life, I cannot pinpoint challenges as it relates to equality or where you've been sidelined because there's a man or so. But there are women who face that as a reality every day, that at the workplace they're sidelined for promotions and so on. There are women, again, who juggle family life, and you're a mom and family life is never easy. You juggle being a mother, Mothers don't have days off. We don't have time out. You know, that kind of thing. Your job will be in that and getting your work done. Women who've broken barriers and went on to study and so on. And so I think it's a good opportunity to recognize, celebrate, you know, and say to the other women who are coming up, listen, if I got this, you got this. We can do this.
I welcome and applaud Student Affairs for putting together this initiative. I believe that this initiative will help bring awareness to the Tam City community of the different roles women played in the development and running of the college. Okay, I think it will help female students be aware of that, of hard work and dedication, that they can achieve anything they put their mind to.
As a woman, do you think that we are celebrated enough?
Quite frankly, I don't think we are celebrated enough. I think over the years, women have not been looked at as a serious contender, a leader in the world. And if you look at the world, leadership in the world at the top levels, you would see that a lot of positions are held mainly by men. And even as women start to progress in life, you find that they have serious challenges with taking their place as leaders in the world because they're not really taken seriously. I can't understand why this is the case, but if you have a country, for example, even in our own country, Grenada, we've never had a female prime minister. All of the prime ministers have been males. So that alone could tell you that we are not, look at the college, we've never had a female being the principal of the college, and that too should tell you that women are not it's not that alone, but I don't even understand what you mean by seriously, but I think I suppose you mean in the term, in the sense of leadership.
Yes.
I know we're taken seriously in the home because we have a lot to do, but as a serious leader, I've not seen it happening. It's good to see the United States have Kamala Harris as the first VP female, and also she's the first African American VP, and that in itself is another conversation, but I don't think women are taken seriously at all.
I would say that we are headed in the right direction. I would say that we are being celebrated, but there is much more that can be done. For example, the women of Afghanistan, some of them cannot vote, some of them are not allowed to have a license. Women of Saudi Arabia, women of the United Arab Emirates. So many women have been kidnapped in Nigeria. So the world can do better, but we are getting there.
Yes, to some level, women have been recognized. In the region, we see women in politics at the forefront. Right here in Grenada, we have, the big parishes of 4 top women. We have Mia Motley right there in Barbados. For me, I follow and admire the work of Angela Merkel. This is the German Chancellor. So we see, recently we have Kamala Harris as first Vice President of the US. So we're beginning to see women taking front stage, and it's the right way.
I am not sure as to what constitutes enough. What I will say though is that we're in an era where women are increasingly celebrated. For instance, this initiative, I can't remember of an initiative like this that has happened in Tam City before. So I think that women are increasingly being celebrated. When you look at years ago in history where women were basically doing household chores and homeowners, and the woman's place was in the home and that kind of thing, and they were on the back burner. Now you see women being highlighted in politics, in education, in almost every sphere of life. So I would say that women are being celebrated. As to what constitutes enough, I'm not sure where the buck stops, when enough becomes enough.
I do not think our concern should be about the celebration of a particular gender, but rather it should focus on leveling the playing field and creating equality of opportunity for all. I believe that an equal world is an enabled world, and equality of opportunity, inclusion, and diversity will bring about creativity, engagement, and collaboration, as well as high performance. So, to me, these are the necessary ingredients for a successful workplace in our increasingly competitive environment.
Is there any woman in leadership position that you look up to at this point?
Yes, that would be my mother. She runs a business along with my dad. She has been a mentor. She has been friend. She has allowed me to empower myself initially by through education. Also, she has empowered me and engaged me in terms of exploring that within every challenge there's an opportunity.
Well, if you were looking at political leader, maybe the Chancellor of Germany, I think she does a very good job. Regionally, the Prime Minister of Barbados, she does a very good job as a woman. And in Grenada, locally, we have our General Governor, and she's tried her best as well.
No, I haven't. Not that I don't admire people and I don't recognize their achievements, but I don't focus on other person's achievements. I think the way I look at it, we're all on different paths.
Right.
And you have your journey, I have my journey, and my focus is on my journey. So I don't compare my life to other people's life. And yes, there are things that I could learn from other person's life, but it's not something that I pay much attention to.
Okay.
There are quite a few women that I look up to, but one person who immediately comes to mind is the Prime Minister of Barbados, Motley. When I look at her, I think she epitomizes what a strong black woman represents. I think she's resourceful, she's bold, she's not easily intimidated, she is not afraid of making tough decisions, and she would venture in waters where even her male counterparts are afraid to go. And at the same time, she has this compassionate side to her. She understands humanity. So this is one person that I really admire as a woman and a black woman within our Caribbean context.
You know, that's a difficult question because you said prominent woman. I think I have women in my life that I look up to. So internationally, you think about probably growing up, you think about the Oprahs and so on that you looked at and you thought, wow, you want to be that powerful black woman. And then I started to work, and I remember at my the secondary school, I taught at St. David's Secondary School for some years, 16 years. And Mrs. Madeline Ferguson was the principal there. Tough, professional, cutting edge in terms of innovation, and she knew what she wanted for the school. And these were things that I always looked at. Yeah? And later on, coming to the teacher department, you met the likes of Pauline Findlay and Monica Barris, those people, again, who, now that I look back, some of the same traits that I have now as a teacher educator, these were things that were modeled by these persons. If I can think Caribbean, my very good friend and mentor is Dr. Wendy Grenade, who is a political scientist and a lecturer at the University of the West Indies. Humble beginnings, and she's always encouraged me and said to me, listen, don't just look at your life as hair or Grenada or within that confined space, but see that you can rise and you can make it. And these are the women. That's why I said it's a tough question, because there's no one particular woman. I think women have been doing so well that there are several women who've really inspired and encouraged.
Yes, there are several women that I look up to at different levels in my educational journey, from primary school to university. There are always this particular female teacher that I look up to the most. However, the person I admire the most is my older sister. So at an early age, I lost my mom. So my older sister had to take up the responsibility of mother. So she was mother to my younger sister and I. She was our motivator, she was our discipliner, she was our protector, and of course she spoiled us a lot. that took up a lot of her youth. So it did affect her in different areas. It affected her secondary school results. Thankfully enough, the results were enough that she could pursue a career in nursing. So today, she's a qualified and accomplished nurse in one of the major hospitals in Illinois. I admire her confidence, her determination, her family-oriented values. These qualities of her humility, motivates me to become the woman I am today.
I admire women who are industrious, strong, firm, and have shown that they have the ability to function and do so successfully in today's complex world. Now, one person I know who fits perfectly well with these characteristics is my mom.
Based on your observation, we can see that women are now having leadership positions. Will you say that you have anyone that you identify that you can say that you look up to as a leader?
Well, actually, it's a long time coming for women to have these positions in society. In terms of looking up to, I've not really looked up to Kamala Harris, but I've liked the fact that she has risen to that position. The United States is one of the most powerful and richest country in the world. And to have an African American with Caribbean roots taking that position in the United States, that in itself is phenomenal. But in terms of a leader, I wouldn't even say she's a leader, but I would say she's a woman of courage. I really like Rosa Parks. Rosa Parks started the civil rights movement in a sense. Martin Luther really wanted something to give that push for the civil rights movement, and Rosa Parks said, I'm tired. She's a woman, and I'm not moving to the back of the bus. And something about that I always like. I studied politics and I studied Rosa Parks, and this is a woman that stands out for me. She said, I'm not moving to the back of the bus. And that triggered the civil rights movements. Of course, you're living in a racially segregated society, and that triggered a lot of confusion and so, because the whites did not take that lightly. So I kind of like her courage and her spirit to stand up, not just to the men, but just to stand up as a woman in the world and say, I'm not taking this anymore. And I think we're seeing women taking sort of that stance. I'm saying that I can be a leader too. I can do good things as well. So from the time I read of her and discussed her, I kind of like her. She's the one that I like the most. But I do admire, and I'm watching Kamala Harris as well. So these are the two ones.
It's a very good initiative. It shows that the world has seen the contributions that women are making and will continue to make. For TAMCC to recognize the women in leadership, it means that TAMCC have recognized the contribution that we are making for the college at this point, and the contribution that we'll continue to make to bring the college where we want it to be.
Yes, definitely women should strive for leadership positions, but I strongly believe that leadership should not just be ascribed to man or woman. It requires a little more than that. So whether you're man or whether you're woman, if you have the qualities, you have the resources, you have the know-how, you have the commitment to get the job done. It's about productivity. And if you have all of the qualities, whether you man or woman, then I think that you should be, not just aspire, but you should be in the leadership position once that position is available.
I believe women should take up role of leadership because leadership does not require any form of physical skill. Women are naturally wired with the skills required for leadership, such as time management, attention to detail, thinking, analyzing skills. And these skills, I believe, that make women successful leaders.
Okay. Now, with your trend of thought, Can you say that women are celebrated enough for their contribution?
Of course, I believe women are celebrated. There are several activities where women are celebrated. We have this month of March where we have the women are celebrated. We have other activities. We have breast cancer awareness for women and so. But I don't think that women want to be celebrated necessarily. I believe that women want to be respected. I believe they want to be appreciated and valued for their contribution, not only at work but also at home.
Great.
Northouse, who is the one of the foremost authority on leadership, he stated that leadership is a process by which an individual is able to influence others to achieve a common goal. No, leadership is not a person, neither is it vested in a particular gender. I believe it is a complex moral relationship between people, and it's based on trust, it's based on an obligation, a commitment, a shared vision, and the ability to communicate effectively that vision.
There are some challenges that women face within their leadership roles or maybe on their way to their career. Personally, will you be able to share with us some of the challenges that you would have faced yourself as a woman getting to the role that you have now?
Well, the men don't think you can do it. That's a challenge.
Right.
And because they perceive that you can't do it, what they do, they try to block you, or they try to make it difficult for you to rise up, or when you are in that position, they try to intimidate you, whether they try to make it seem as if you're weak, or you wouldn't be able to, you're not strong enough, even if you're working hard, even if you're doing just as well and better. They think because they are the man, they are somehow endowed with certain qualities that are different to women, and so they are better. I think it's because that over the years that men were in these roles, all of a sudden women are rising, and they're changing the whole paradigm shift, where women are rising up and saying, listen, I can do it as well as you can. I think they are intimidated by that, and I think that they some of them, not all, some men are wonderful, and they provide a platform and a way for women to take leadership roles, but some men, they cannot come to terms with the fact that women are rising. And I think we can go into the history of that, because there's a history behind that. Sure. The women places in the home, we should be scrubbing the pots and washing the dishes and do that kind of thing. And then you tend to feel that, listen, you should be just making babies. That's all you're good for. And women are saying no. If you study women's movement, the women are rising up and saying no, we can do it as well. I think they have proven that, but men, some of them don't want to accept that. And so when you're in the workplace, when you're taking a leadership position, you would find that you'd have some of these men trying their best to make sure that you don't get to a certain level. For me, I think that gender had a role to play. I mean, I saw some things happen to me, and I'm wondering, well, how can I do different to make people feel that I'm serious? And I'm not seeing anybody else doing it the same way or doing it any better, but yet I'm not treated as if, to me, as if I was a man. I would have not have been treated in that way. So we still have a long way to go as women. We still have a long way to go. Men have to see us, society needs to see us as serious contenders for leadership, for various positions, so that we can grow. And I don't believe in the equality thing. I believe men do have certain leadership roles that is designed for them. And it may sound like I'm contradicting the entire conversation. While I see that, I also see that women should not be denied certain roles, because they want to do it, or they have the tenacity for it, or they have the strength and they have the, you know, they know how to do it. I don't think that they should be prevented and say, no, you can't do it. And men have been guilty of doing that over the years, and I'm a typical example of something like that happened to me as well. So yeah. No, I have not had any significant challenges leading my department.
I was very fortunate, I would say. I didn't have much challenges. I started working maybe at the age of 17. But my career would have started as a clerk at the Caribbean Community Library. And from there, I was fortunate to be given a scholarship to attend St. George's University, where I did a double major in business and accounting. After that, I taught a bit. I was even financial controller at the Grenada Grand Beach Resort at one time. After that, I pursued a master's degree in international business again at St. George's University, and then I came to TAMCC. So I came in TAMCC as a project manager, dealing with youths, working with underprivileged youths from 17 to 35. Then I worked as coordinator for TVET, coordinator for Access and Professional Studies, and now I have the position of dean at the school, continuing education.
Right, I'm hearing quite a bit of achievements. Which one of them will you say that you are proud of the most?
I'm proud of all the positions that I've held, and I'm also proud of to be dean. I believe in this position I will be able to make some changes, especially for women who think that without the required CXC they cannot get into TAMCC. I would like them to know that we have the entry for Matia students from 25 and over. They can come to us, we can start off with them while they're studying with us, they can pursue their CXCs, and they can have an associate degree. So there's always a second chance, there's always hope with TAMCC.
Right, so you hope to use your leadership position as a driving force to help improve the condition for other women who are challenged and who also maybe need some kind of support and vision.
Yes, some guidance.
Right.
Women, what I realize, especially young women, early 20s, sometimes they are in domestic violence situation. They need to speak up about it. Sometimes they do not know where to go for resources. They can come, ask questions, and we can guide them.
Great.
Some of my challenges, I will say, is that of managing work-life balance. I have children, and while I was studying, also having to work, and that was a great challenge in itself. But I was able to overcome them by doing time management, organization skills, as well as taking the time off to recuperate and for mental health and well-being.
I would have had challenges, but I might hasten to say insignificant challenges. Because I have been a teacher all my life, my adult life. I started teaching as a teenager, yeah, and when I started teaching, I taught English, physical education, and social studies as a teenager. Soon after that, I went to Teachers College, and immediately after that, I migrated to Grenada. When I got to Grenada, I started employment at Happy Hill Primary School, where I spent 7 years. For 4 of those years, I was the vice principal of that institution. Then I came into TAMCC. I started as an adjunct lecturer. That I did for a year. In 2008, I came as a full-time employee of TAMCC. 1 year after, I became the chair of the hospitality department. I remained in that position for 10 years. And in 2018, I became the associate dean in the School of Applied Arts and Technology. And the year after, I became the dean. So along that journey, there have been men at all the different stages. But I cannot safely say that there was a situation where a position became available and I was overlooked by virtue of the fact that I'm a woman. I think that whatever I do, I put my all into it. And that is one of my mantras. You bloom where you're planted. So life may not be the party that you hoped for, but while you're in the party, it doesn't hurt to dance. And if you're going to dance, you dance to the best of your ability. And I think that's what I have done in the past. Wherever I am placed, whatever task I am given, I put my all into it. I have a low level of tolerance for mediocrity. And that's why sometimes people may say, oh, it's difficult to please Ms. John, kind of thing. I like to see things done. I'm not a perfectionist by any stretch of the imagination, but I like to see things done properly. And so, whatever task I'm given, I put my all into it.
First, it's kind of difficult to think about the challenges along the way to the position, because I never had the position in mind. I never thought, it's not like you came and you decided in a couple of years' time you're going to be the chair of the department. But working along and doing the best you can as always, then you were recommended for that position. But I think one of the challenges, I'm a single mom, and doing graduate studies, I battled with home, my son, and getting the studies done. And I remember there was a point in time where I had to take a leave of absence, and leave of absence kept coming. It was one after the other, and it seemed as if you would never finish. I remember when I started my graduate studies, I started it in 2008, and years after I finished. And it was not because of lack of ability, but it was just the struggles that you had. And I would count it as a challenge to the journey, because I remember when I was taking the position, one of the things I was asked then, when I was offered the position by my previous chair, he said, how are you in terms of, what you were completing, because he knew that I was working on it. And I said to him, I'll be there by then. And so it was something that I had to work hard and at least get it off the way in terms of one step and put the other on hold. So that has been, some of the challenges, or one of the main challenges.
There have been challenges. What I would say is that I've been able to use them as, there were challenges, but I've been able to use them as opportunities. And when they showed themselves, it was an opportunity to step back, to rethink, to re-strategize, refocus, and plan the way ahead.
In any other aspects of your life, did you ever had any challenge as it relates to being a woman, if you were to be reviewed for any position or any form of achievement?
I think it will go back to what I just spoke about. The challenge of being a woman is being a woman who has a child, a woman who has a home life, a woman who has family that depend on her, and trying to manage all of that and still being the best that you can at the job. And sometimes it may lead to what persons may perceive as procrastination, when what you're doing is trying to keep your head above water, or what you're trying to do is trying to juggle so many things that sometimes, things here and there may get, sidetracked.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've never really experienced it personally. However, through my own development, I have admired women in top positions. And every time I reflect on such women, I would think about my mentor. I would say Kathy Freeman from Australia. She has influenced me. Something about her, she has a pride, she has a grace, a calm. And I recall as a child watching her in the Olympics, and she got injured and she stayed away from track and field for a while. But when she came back, she was right there. At the Sydney Olympics, she lit the torch, and it was one of my most historic moments. I felt like if I was there at the stadium, first I admired her presence at the global level.
To my knowledge, I would say no. I think that women, to me, equal as men in terms of in the way how we lead. Women are empathetic, we're flexible, we know how to multitask, and I think that I think with that and the way how I perform, to those who I know on the male side, I've never had a negative impact nor feedback.
Did you see yourself prior to achieving this position in that position?
Say no. I have not I've not seen or looked at myself in the past or before acquiring this position in education. Actually, when I started studying, I thought I was going to be in the world of business. Initially, my dream was to get into accounting, and I went on to study. I studied business. I studied business. I studied management and economics, and I came back to the leader and got a job in teaching. I started teaching at the secondary level, and then I thought I was going to do that for 4 years, 4 or 5 years maximum. After 5 years, well, actually, that really stayed with me. After 5 years, I left. I did not stay in there, and never thought I was going to end up in teaching. But in hindsight, looking at it, I can see that there were opportunities and a lot of moments that paved the way for me to be here, and there were reasons. So thinking about it, to me it was more or less meant to be, and I'm really seeing the benefits now of being in the position.
You have aspired to become a leader within a department. Throughout your journey, what would you say would have inspired you the most throughout your journey as a young person growing up, going to school, acquiring educational achievements? What would have inspired you the most to be within that field?
Well, first of all, you said aspire to become a leader. I have never aspired to become a leader. It's simply that I do the things that I'm called to do, and I aspire to do them well.
Right.
No, it may have been that the institution would have seen that I hold leadership qualities, and then they choose to place me in that position, but it has never been my aspiration to be in charge or to be a leader. As far as inspiration goes, and my area is architecture, and I have always been into the arts. I've always been interested in drawing, in design, in culture, and all those things inform architecture.
Me being here today was inspired and motivated by other women. So through their stories, through their determination, through their professionalism, through teachers, co-workers, I would in line do the same. As being a lecturer also, teaching, where I'm encountered by numerous female students, I try my best to inform them of what is needed in the what is required to be successful. So I will give my life story just as others have given their life story, and show them that it is possible for any female, no matter your circumstances, situation, your history, your history, that you yourself can be successful.
Awesome. Okay, based on your likes or your preferences, it sounds to me like you're into the political, strong, kind of willed women. And so I'm trying to gather as to whether you are in support of women as leaders, and do you think by any chance that women make better leaders than men?
Well, first of all, I don't believe that there should be anything to support. You are bright, you work hard, and you can do the job, then there isn't anything to support. What there is to do, give you your rightful place as a leader. That's my position on that. And then I don't think that there should be any gender. It shouldn't be a gender thing.
Right.
It should be women. This is a position. The woman is at the forefront. She's working hard. She's making a difference. I think that the woman should be. It's not about gender for me. So if the man is good at it, then fine. If the woman is good at it, then fine. What I don't like is that you're saying that I can't do it and you can't tell me why I can't do it. I mean, I've grown you in my stomach, even the men. So, I mean, I can't lead you. I mean, I do have, because of my also religious background, I think men have some place, and I think that some roles are better suited for them. But I think in terms of leadership on a whole, I don't think that there should be any barrier. If the woman wants to do it, allow her to do it. Let her try, let her fail. That to me is more critical than rather than saying that, no, as a woman, you can't run Grenada. But I grow you up as a babe, as a boy. So why can't I run things? What are you saying? Is it what it is? I don't know, but I don't see any preference. As long as you're doing well, you're working hard, you're making a difference, you're making changes, I think I support that 100%. So I'm not going to sit here and say, no, the women are better. And I would not sit here and say the men are better as well. I just think in terms of how they carry out their leadership role, I think that's what is significant for me personally.
Okay. Yeah. Well, personally, it all depends on how you interpret leadership. I think women are better managers than women can take whatever sum they have and stretch it to wherever it needs to go. Women have a way of managing the home well, managing their finance very well. In terms of who is better in, let's say, leadership, like managing a country, for example, right now, I think the time has come for maybe a woman to take over. We have had a legacy of men, and we have seen what the legacy have brought to this country. So I think the stage now is set for women to take the forefront and do what they need to do, because I have faith in women. I think that women are great leaders. But in comparison to us men and women, I don't think that any of the sexes or any of is better than the other. I think both is quite capable of leadership. But certainly this is a century of change, and I believe that women is ready now to take the stage.
Okay, given your challenges, what are you most proud of?
Well, you have to be proud of not giving up. You're proud of within the midst of all the challenges that you experience as a woman, trying to make your way into society, the fact that you don't give up, the fact that you keep pressing on, the fact that you show people that you can do it, then I think I'm very most proud of that. Not giving up, working hard, and making sure that you make a name for yourself and not giving up and trying your best every single day to make it life easier or better for yourself as a woman, and even for your family as well.
I am most proud of my academic and professional achievements, in that I was able to attain my bachelor's as well as my master's. My bachelor's in accounting and management, my master's in business administration in international business. On the professional side, 18 years ago when I started off working, I started as an administrative clerk. I've since worked my way up the ladder and now as the intern professor at college.
Great.
Yes, I have represented Grenada on many stages. I have worked in Grenada at the World Championships, even at football. I got a sports scholarship out of Anglican High School. At the time I went to New Jersey, Essex County College. Then I moved on from there and returned home, and I'm here now giving back what this country, what this community has given to me.
Not because it's unusual, but I suppose I haven't been thinking about that. I suppose I would say just the person that I have grown into over the past few years, and the person that I can see myself growing into. Growing up, I've always been a bit quiet and somewhat shy, even though I was recently told that I'm not shy, I'm just quiet. And I don't think that I foresaw myself being in the position that I am. Not that I don't think that I could do it, but I'm not a frontline person.
Okay.
I have no problem, being part of the crowd and doing my part, but I don't look to stand out. But I can see that God has other plans for me.
Right.
So, and sometimes you sit and it's like you can see a little window and you get a glimpse of what is to come.
Right.
And I think at this point I'm getting a little glimpse as to what is to come. And I'm ready and waiting.
Finally getting halfway where I want to be in terms of my graduate studies. Finally, yeah.
Great.
I am proud of the opportunity of being able to make a difference in the lives of young people. As an educational leader, this has afforded me that to influence and to impact and to make changes in young people's lives.
All right. Great. So as you said, family, I know you have a daughter. If you were to give your daughter some advice in terms of becoming a leader herself, what are some of the things that you would say to her?
Well, frankly, I would say, first of all, you need to educate yourself. Go after your education. I would also say to her, do not rely on men to provide for you. You find your own way and your own path, and you can do it. Believe in yourself, have confidence in yourself, work hard, do good things, but make sure that you find your way, your path in life. Have a good education, pursue education, apprehend education, and you make sure that you do not rely on a man to do it for you. You do it for yourself as a young woman. Don't rely on men. Rely on your own strength, and the strength of course coming from God, but you do it for yourself, not for some man to do it for you. That might sound harsh, but I don't mean it to be harsh.
I would say to them, believe in yourself. Try and get to know thyself. Once you believe, you trust in yourself, you can achieve anything.
I will say look for the opportunity in every challenge, maintain a work-life balance, as well as develop a leadership plan, goal, short-term, medium-term, long-term. Look to see where you can place yourself within the next 5-15 years.
Awesome.
Okay, the first thing I would tell any young woman is to respect themselves. So if they respect themselves and they respect the people that they live with, the people that they work with, it's attitude. It's all about attitude. So if they have the right attitude, two persons could have the same qualification, and one person, because of the attitude, would get them where they want to be. Right? So if that person, that young person has, they have a desire, they need to come up with a plan. Right? So they need to set aside their short-term goal and their long-term goals and stick at it, work with it, and then they can achieve what they want. But it's all about the attitude.
What I'll say to a young person, first of all, is that, like I just said, we're all on different paths. Everyone's journey is different. So I would think the first thing to do is to look within, to do some serious self-examination and get to know themselves, because I think a big problem we have as people is that we don't spend time getting to know ourselves. We're so focused on our relationship with others, whatever relationship it may be, that we don't spend time to think about who I am. And once you start getting to know yourself, then you can better make decisions that relates to you. And then it's no longer about your teacher, your mother, your father, society, but it's about you, right? The other thing would be not to aspire for greatness in the beginning. Just aspire to do your best, whatever your best might be, right? One step at a time, do your best, take it easy. A lot of times we like to rush into things and we feel that it's a race. And again, it's not about our relationship with others, it's about our relationship with ourselves. So no matter how long it takes, as long as we see ourselves growing, then we know we're succeeding. It may not be as fast as it's happening for other people, but if we can see the progress within ourselves, then at the end of the day, that's what matters to me.
Okay, great. Being on top of your game in terms of knowing your work, you have to know your work. You have to look like it. You have to sound like it. Yeah. You have to know your work. You have to know what you're about. You have to be someone who is always willing to learn at the same time, because you as much as you know your work, you will not know it all. Always be able to learn, research, find out from those who've gone before. There's also humility. Yeah. Learn to be, as you aspire. Sometimes as women, I think if I should use my grandmother's term, we get swell-headed, and we always have to remember to be grounded. So be humble, humility, be professional, learn to strike a balance. Yeah, persons look to you, can, even at the workplace, you would have relationship with maybe somebody that you're close to, but understand the professional lines. So when you get there, you know that business is business, And if I can say, I remember I learned that early from Dr. Grenade. I was one of her students in her class, and we were very, very good friends, very good friends. As a matter of fact, because I was a Grenadian, she took me into her home, so I would spend time with her, have lunch with her, and so on. And when it came to class, you bet she didn't know me, and that is something that even now I say to the teachers, we can meet, I can see you on the weekend and we can have a good time, but we keep the professional lines, in the workplace. Fairness, being fair, that sort of thing. Being innovative, always thinking ahead, and so on. These are some traits that I've seen and I try to model myself.
Nice. Okay, so firstly, a young person who is aspiring, the first thing I would say to you, do not be afraid to take chances. Because sometimes, especially as young persons, you have your goals, you have your aspirations, you aspire for something, but whatever happens in life, you're not able to do what you aspire for. You fall somewhere else. I never wanted to be a teacher, but when I graduated from secondary school as a teenager, I had challenges. I wasn't able to go to college immediately. I was offered a teaching position, and I just decided, it's available, I'm available, I'm going to do it. And 30 years after, I'm still in education. I'm still doing the same thing, although that's not what I aspired for. So I'm going to say to young people, one, do not be afraid of new challenges, new initiatives. It may not be what you want, but while you're at it, give it your best. So whatever opportunities present themselves to you, make the best of the opportunity. And you never know, that might be your scaffold to something even bigger. It may be within the same field, it may be in a new field. And maybe somebody looking at you just from the little things that you're doing right there, and they have other big plans for you that you do not even know about. So I would say, and the other thing I would say too, is that if you're a woman, do not think that because you're a woman, you cannot do it. Never, never sell yourself short simply because you're a woman. So I'm a woman, and this is a male-dominated field, I won't succeed, I won't do that. No, you're just as good as anybody else. You put your mind to it, you work hard, you do what you have to do to the best of your ability. Now, the best of your ability may not be the way that somebody else may be able to do it, but it's the best that you can do. And when you do the best that you can do, then you're rewarded for the good things that you do.
Set priorities and take time for yourself. With so many demands on our time, it is hard to be everything to everyone. And should have to know and trust in her knowledge and abilities. You have to look for opportunities, and you have to build your self-knowledge, your skills, and your network. As a woman in leadership, you don't have to change the world single-handedly, but you can be part of that change.
Great. So I think throughout our conversation, I can really feel that you are, an ambassador for women in leadership. and I'm sure that our viewers feel the same way. And just to wrap up, I just want you to share any last point you think you want to share with our viewers as it relates to International Women's Day coming up. Should it be something that women should celebrate coming up? Are there things that you think they can do to feel special on that day?
Well, yeah, I think we ought to recognize and celebrate that day. Women have done a lot to reach to the place they are in right now as women leaders. And more you would find the narrative that men are now being marginalized because women are leading and men are now crying foul and women taking over. But I think we ought to remember that women, we at a certain point, if you're a woman, you weren't even able to vote. In some countries, you weren't able to vote. We have a long way to go still. In certain parts of the world, as you know, women are not really even, some of them cannot drive, some of them in Afghanistan, you don't have the right to an education, that sort of thing. So women need to press on. I've seen situations where women were not given the right, and then the men, the treatment that they got from the men because they were not able to do for themselves, they were prevented, it's mind-boggling what happened. So I think women should be celebrated. I think I applaud the efforts. Ms. John came up with that idea called Alexander John, and I jumped on board with it. And I think even in our small society, even at TAMCC, we must understand that we too have a place in society and we can make a contribution. You can't leave us out. I mean, we are extremely important. So I'm happy for that, that Women's Day is celebrated and that we are being recognized for the great contribution we are making to this society. And we can go on and on with this, in terms of woman myself, we can go on and on with this. But it's very important that we recognize women and their roles in society. So I'm happy that it's being recognized.
I will say, as a woman to another woman, celebrating International Women's Day, empower yourself, love yourself, look at yourself, the challenges that you have been through, the opportunities that you have gained, the success that you have achieved over time, and just enjoy.
Okay, I believe International Women's Day is a celebration of women everywhere. I believe that the people that decided to have this day, they recognize that women do make a contribution. Right? They value women and they know that women make contribution, whether it's domestically or whether it's in organizations. And I believe we should celebrate International Women's Day. It's a good initiative. And together as women, if we work together, women will find their place in society.
What I would say to them is try to surround yourself with supportive people. People that support you no matter what area you are in. What I use, I have a supportive husband. I have supportive sisters. And I have excellent and supportive co-workers. And without these three community, I will not be successful in anything that I do. Thank you.
Well, my philosophy is one day at a time. I take life in stages. I try to be as honest as I can, fair in how I interact with people. And I believe that if you treat people well, they would in turn treat you well. So I just take it easy like that, one at a time.
I don't know if I have one at the moment. Again, I'm just living a simple life. I actually right now at the point I am in my life, I'm very disconnect from the outside, and that's probably not a good thing. But I'm more focused on me right now. So, and life is so busy that I haven't spent a lot of time these past few years thinking about what's happening out there.
Right.
You know, I'm just focusing on trying to live the best that I can.
So really, that's your philosophy. You've just said your philosophy in different ways. So I think, we really appreciate your opinion and your views and what you were able to share with us today.
And we just want to thank you for just being the person that you are, and may you continue to be aspire for great things and achieve.
Okay. One of the things that I would always say to young women is, as a woman, you're never free of challenges. You're never free of circumstances in your life. It may be personal that would somehow get you down. We need to, however, rise above those. Knowing that a mistake that you've made, for instance, somebody probably, you're looking at me and you succumb to teenage pregnancy or so, knowing that a mistake that you made would not define your life. You still have an opportunity to get it right. Get up there, know that you have it within you, apply yourself and really push for it. And of course, you can make a difference.
I would say to them that they are just as qualified as men to lead. And sometimes I think we believe the challenges come from saying it that we are female who's in, and I mean, most of the time it is seen like it's a man job, so it's a man world. But women, to me, they are just as qualified as men to lead, and there should never be any disparity between them. So I do believe that women they could make great leaders, and they are going to be great leaders because they're able to multitask. They are good listeners. They are extremely good at balancing work and family life. And so the potential and the abilities that we possess sometimes as women, I think it's irrefutable. And so sometimes while we're in positions of leadership, we fail to realize how poised we are for success. So we can be successful. So never think you're not going to achieve it. You're not going to be a success. Accept failure and take it as a learning block and continue to move on.